All right. Okay, so tonight is the Q&A session, as usual. And before I start the Q&A, there's something I need to say about the interview. Yeah, for those, your name is not, for those, sorry. For those who have registered later dates to start, for example, some of you registered on the 1st of October, or let's say 29 or 28th of September. Then this time, your interview name is not there yet, Your name of the interview will not appear in the list yet. So, as you begin to start officially according to your registration name, then only we'll put your name into the interview list. And that also, we will see that after you first, a few days later, then only you start the interview. Not on the day you start officially, then you expect your name to start the next day. No, not like that. You have to do something first, then only you tell me. If not, you go to interview, you got nothing to say. So you have to have something first. And then also later on, next week, when some of you have doing 10 days. Now, when you finish your 10 days officially, in the sense that from the forms we see that if you finish the 10 days, then after that, your names will not appear in the interview list anymore. Okay? So, don't get shocked if later part when your name is not there. All right. This is something I have to get across. Some of us, perhaps, of course, we never know. I've never done interview before, but this is how an interview to be done. Okay. Let us go to the questions. There's a lot of questions tonight. Okay, let me open up my. Hold on, Okay. Hold on. Where's my file? Yes. Hold on now. Just now I have to restart my computer. Anyway, now it's up. Okay, good. Now we go to the sharing again. Okay. Can y'all see? All right, good. Okay. Let me move this thing. Okay. I walk 30 to 45 minutes as daily exercise. Now I know how to nurture metta when I run into neighbors on the road. How about mindfulness? How to develop it while you are walking at normal or even a little bit faster speed? Or can it only happen at slower walking pace? All right. So your 30 to 45 minutes daily exercise on the road and outside there. Now this is not considered a walking meditation. This is not considered a walking meditation. This is considered a daily kind of activity type of metta. All right, a daily kind of activity of metta. Now with that, then it will be good that if you are doing walking meditation, you have to do 10 to 15 to 20 steps to and fro like that. So if you go into a garden or you go into a neighborhood and then you are running and you see people and you are walking and so on, and those are daily mindfulness. Daily metta. We consider that as a daily metta. Good. Now, how about mindfulness? How do we develop at the walking at normal or even a bit faster speed? Now, usually, mindfulness although it can develop at the normal pace or even a faster speed, but this type of mindfulness, although it's there, but it is not so strong. Not so strong. It's not so strong. We need the mindfulness. We need the mindfulness that comes together with the calming state of mind. That is to say, some degree of concentration that comes up. So this type of general mindfulness, you can do it in the normal walking space. You just be aware of what you are doing. You don't let the mind running into too much of planning and so on. But it's more like in the present. You are here, you are now. So that one, it kind of like a borderline between a general awareness or everyday awareness, and also a little bit on the mindfulness. So it's kind of like to and fro with this one, which I mentioned that on Wednesday. So with that, with this normal or faster walking speed, it may not get so good mindfulness. So it will be better. It will be better that the pace is a little bit slower. That you don't rush. When you rush, then things doesn't get much of mindfulness. Okay, so this is so you need for a good a good mindfulness. You need a slower walking pace. A faster one, normal one, it's a very superficial. Mindfulness is there, but it's kind of superficial. It's not so strong. Okay. So mindfulness, make sure that what you need to do is to bring the mind back. The first thing is that we want to know what is mindfulness. Bring the mind back to the body. Don't go to the mind yet. Don't go to the mind, because the mind is too fickle. The mind is too fast. Feel the body. As you feel the body, you feel it is walking, it is moving, it is warm, it is cold, and then you learn to accept them. That is somewhat mindfulness is arising. Okay? This is a little bit on the mindfulness. When we talk about, of course, when we talk about in the practice during Vipassana, when that one, usually we talk about so much more on the mindfulness. Okay, next one. Today is quite a lot of question. Just reading the question will take about 15 minutes. Bhante, during walking, sometimes the mind just didn't follow the earlier lines, but just keep to more simplified verse like, may they be well, happy and peaceful. Then should I continue with the simplified verse, or bring back the mind to the earlier verses? Like, may they be free from all harm and danger, be free from all mental suffering, may they be free from all physical suffering. Thank you. Now here, if you feel that sometimes in some walking, then the other one, it is not so impactful, and straight away that one become impactful to you, then it's perfectly you can do that. May they be well and happy and peaceful. Then in that particular walking, if you feel that one is more impactful, as the metta is flowing right now, metta is more continuous right now, then it's perfectly for you to do that. But then after that, later on, if you feel that may they be well and happy and peaceful become not so strong anymore, then yes, then after that you go back, may they be free from harm and danger again, may they be free, then you go back through the lines again. So this is what perhaps you need to do in the walking. All right, okay, that's cool. Next one. Can we radiate metta to the respected one who is from opposite sex? It helps to arouse metta, the opposite gender. So, can you have to a respected ones, which is in a way opposite gender from you? In a way, yes, actually you can do that. Not a problem actually. It's unless some of us, our mind is a bit more perverted and so on, then the mind can become problematic. That one, if you feel that if you cannot, then forget about it. If you can, if it's not a problem to you, then it's perfectly all right. Some teachers also mention that the opposite sex, they are not appropriate for you to have metta, to arouse the metta. But nowadays, as I said, people also have male-to-male relationship, female-to-female relationship, isn't it? Then this time when they want to do metta, then they say that, oh, this is the same sex. But no, it's not, because it falls under a dearly loved one. Then also cannot. So nowadays it's a bit more upside down a little bit. But generally the one that you have a lot of attachment to in the sensual desire way, in the lustful way, then that is not a good for you to develop metta in the beginning. But towards the end, towards the further development, then all beings, whether opposite sex or whether the dearly loved one or whether your enemy, all this metta is in the same level, it's the same frequency. Not one is more, one is less. Number 2. Can I start radiating metta to the respected person first, then only to myself, and so on? Because the feeling of metta can arouse when radiating to the respected person. Now, it will be better you start off with yourself. Okay? You start off with yourself, then only you go to the respected person. But then when you do the respected person, you do a little bit longer period of time. You do a bit longer period of time. Now, after that, if you find that the energy has starts to further stronger, then again you can go back to yourself again and bring the metta back to yourself, and then you develop the metta from yourself, and then you arouse it also. So it would be good that when we start off with the first thing with yourself first. With yourself first, then only we start with the respected person. Then, as I said, more, then you come back again to yourself, and then sometimes you may just two of you only, maybe yourself and the respected person, and throughout the whole sitting, it may just be that only. So it's perfectly all right also. It's perfectly all right. Or if you later on you want to go on to a bigger group, then it's also okay. You see, as long as the metta is flowing, then it is all right. Number 3, during metta meditation, if the pain arises, what shall we do? Shall we ignore the pain or note the pain? Now here, in the metta meditation, just like vipassana meditation, the pain will definitely arise one time or another. But now the metta meditation, you don't pay attention to the pain so much. You're aware of it, you know it's at the background, you know it at the background, but you keep it to your metta, to the mental recitation of the words. You keep on arousing the metta. You keep the pain away. Now, the pain is sometimes going to get stronger and stronger. And it's going to get stronger over time, and then that time you really cannot take it. Tak boleh tahan lah, You cannot take it already, then what do you do? So this time for metta, you can start to adjust a little bit. If you adjust a little bit. But then make sure that this is not a habit, because when you start to adjust this one, it will affect all forms of meditation later part. Not only just metta meditation, it will affect your vipassana also, because that next time when the pain arises, you don't want to note the pain, you take the shortcut out, then that's also another problem. So the best is that try to sit with the pain first, and while the pain is there, we keep the mind away from the pain and stay with the metta. See whether you can do that or not. For us to able to sit with the pain, that we can able to stay with the pain and yet able to radiate metta. This is where your walking meditation will be very helpful. Because in the walking meditation, just like in vipassana meditation, it arouses that effort, it arouses that energy, it arouses that mindfulness. And that mindfulness, it helps for the mind to able to sustain on the pain without feeling too much irritation on yourself, without feeling a lot of restlessness due to the nature of the pain. So the walking meditation, it's actually very helpful for this one. That's why, as I said, with the walking meditation, if you are doing this retreat, then it will be good that we start off with some degree of walking meditation. Some of you may say, oh, 15 minutes is enough. Actually, the 15 minutes is not enough, actually. You need to build up the effort. You need to build up the mindfulness. Then with that, when it gets stronger, when it gets continuous, then when you go into the metta, then the metta is able to be sustained. At the same time, it can able to sustain the mind from going into a lot of irritation, annoyance, angry, aversion, and so on, due to the nature of the pain. Okay? So this is 1, 2, and 3. All right, next question. All right. Bhante, during sitting, I started from myself, followed by small groups until all beings. Every group repeated a few times. When sent to all beings after the 4 lines, the joy arose and disappeared again and again. I changed from 4 lines to 1 line. The joy still arose and disappeared. I felt happy and calm. At a moment, the heart beats up and down very clear. I felt like the joy came out from the heart. After that, I let go the lines and stay in happiness and peace. Suddenly, the pain arose on the knee. I go back to the 4 lines, but the pain changed to thigh bone, very strong. I let go of the lines and was aware of the heartbeat. The pain slowly disappeared. Bhante, am I doing correctly? Please advise. Yes, you are doing correctly. You are doing correctly. But here, when it comes to this peace and happiness, especially when it comes with all forms of samatha meditation, this one you all got to be very careful. The happiness, the peace, the joy that arises, those are not the problem. The problem is that if you happen to start to attach to them, then they become a big problem. They become a very big problem. Now, as long as your joy arises and your heartbeat is getting stronger, make sure that your metta is still flowing. Your metta is still flowing. Now, before we go this one, now you see, when there is joy, like there's one part of the mind is having a joy right now, it is overwhelming and is quite strong right now. And then you are still need to flow the metta. And this is metta. Yeah? What do you need to do right now? Make sure that this joy is in the background. Although they are there, the peacefulness, the calmness is in the background. And then the metta here is still flowing. It still keep on flowing. Don't get too attached to that, but to that joy. Because if you attach to that joy, your metta will start to stagnate already, will start to stop already. Once it starts to stop, the mind will start to be overwhelmed by this type of joy and this type of happiness and this type of pleasantness, and then you get stuck there. But then you feel good. You really feel good. And then that is where sometimes metta meditate or sometimes samatha meditators, they get attached to that thing, and then they begin to think that this is jhana, or this is a very deep form of meditation. But no, actually it's not. Actually it's just somewhat, not to say you're a beginner, but somewhat you have already done some practice. But if you're not careful, you get stuck there. Just like Vipassana, also the same thing. I've mentioned in a Vipassana that when your object is going, rising, falling, changing, and so on, in breath, out breath is moving and changing, then the joy and the happiness or the pleasantness or quietness of the mind arises simultaneously together with it. Then here again the same thing, you don't get attached to those things. You go back to note your object, your main object. So do the same thing in the metta that we are doing. The joy that this one is not the problem. It's not a problem. It's the attachment towards it, the problem, and then you begin to ignore your main object, which is the metta right now. So make sure when these things happening, make sure you bring your attention back to the metta and keep it flowing. Keep the metta vibe. May I be free from harm, and then may all beings be free. At the background, you feel good, you feel nice, but don't attach to it. Then only you can progress further. This is one of the biggest trapping, especially when we're doing samatha meditation. And because of that also, because of this also, now those who are doing metta and you are doing for 1 month and so on, make sure at the end of our retreat, our this metta bhavana thing, when you go back to your vipassana again, your pain is all going to come back, and all your peace and all that thing that you love, and for 1 month you think you're like in a heaven already, then suddenly all the pain start coming in. Then that time you're going to start seeking back for all the joy and all the happiness. Then you see how much your mind is attached to those things. At that time also you need to push the mind back again to notice all the suffering objects. Then only the true nature of things arises. So the same thing when we push back to the vipassana, the mind can be quite reluctant to go back to vipassana because of the metta. So again here you need to push, you need to make the effort, you make the adhitthana again to go back to vipassana. But then when you're able to do that now, next time in the future, your mind can go soft anytime it needs to. Your mind can later part you can able to switch over to noting the hardness, softness, warmness, pain, and thinking and planning and so on. You can note those things. Then after that, later part, when you want to switch back to vipassana, also can. So switch back to metta also can. It just takes some degree of practice. So then get attached to it. Make sure that your main object, you stay with the main object. Okay. Let us go back again to the Q&A. All right. So all right, no problem. The heartbeat is not a problem. Just be aware of it. Go back to your metta object. Now, during my sitting meditation, when there is heavy sloth and torpor occur, I use body scanning to overcome the hindrances. Is this correct? Yes, it's perfectly all right. There are one of the good ways that when we learn about vipassana is that vipassana, we have to deal with a lot of overcoming a lot of hindrance. So some of the method that we use in the vipassana, we can actually transfer those things into sloth and into metta meditation also. It's perfectly all right now, because this time, but not, of course, not everything you can transfer. There are some you can actually transfer. For example, like what you do here, a body scanning. Now, if you use this body scanning, and also it's good because this one it can able to be alert and it comes back to the body again. Once the sloth and torpor is coming in, your metta is already stopped already. Once all these hindrances is there, the metta is already stopped. That means even heavy some more is even, there's nothing much already. So if you go back to mindfulness again, then you notice the whole body. And it's good. If you're able to overcome that, well and good. If you cannot, sometimes this heavy sloth and torpor, you get up to do some walking a little bit or stretching up mindfully. This time also it is not good to do any form of metta when there's a hindrances is there. We need to clear the hindrances first. So the clearing the hindrances, the different ways of overcoming sloth and torpor. If you want to know about this sloth and torpor, also I spoke about it. You go back to some of the Facebook talks that is already in this one. You go to the one that on 5 hindrances, then we talk about sloth and torpor. There's a number of ways we can use it. For example, you get up, you wash your face, you stretch your limbs a bit mindfully. Even the Buddhas mentioned that you look far away or sit in a more of a bright area, not in the dark area. And that can be helpful to overcome sloth and torpor. Now, another way, in the sitting meditation also, if you happen to notice the sloth and torpor is already coming in, again here what we can do is that we speed up the recitation of the words. You know that it's coming at the background, it's a bit sleepiness, a bit there, drowsiness, a bit coming in. But it's not heavy yet, but you know it's coming already. And now you know it's coming. So what you do is that, may I be free from harm and danger, may I be free from all mental suffering, may I be... But in the same time, make sure the meaning is still there. You go a bit faster, but then the meaning, you still draw out the meaning, because that meaning, when you draw out the meaning, when the metta arises, then that metta itself will overcome the sloth and torpor. Okay? Because it's a wholesome mind. Then you will overcome the sloth and torpor. All right? So, you can do that with the scanning of the body. Okay. Next one. Let us see. Next question. How to send metta to a patient, my sister, who really sick and need to go for surgery in these 2 days? Can I just sending metta repeatedly to her instead for the whole sitting and walking? All right. Now, first of all, we hope that your sister will have a smooth surgery and able to recover as quickly as possible. Now, let's come back to the issue here. First of all, the patient is your sister, okay, and who is really sick. That means he's in a state of suffering. Then you say that you are sending metta. No, right now, this one is a bit complicated. Perhaps next week or following week, I'm going to talk about this, because there are a lot of things sometimes we all mix up between Metta, Karuna, even with sadness and everything, all sekali, all mix up everything, the emotion all mix up everything, and we thought that it's Metta, but actually it's not Metta. Now, here, first of all, when your sister is going through a surgery and she's suffering, and you right now is that you are focusing on the suffering of your sister. Okay? You're focusing on the suffering of a person, of your sister right now. When you're focusing on the suffering of the person or on the being, then it turns into Karuna. If you do it correctly, as I said again, if you do it correctly, it turns into Karuna. If you don't do it correctly, then it will turn into fear, a little bit of fear, a little bit of emotional instability, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of you fear that of her. You want her to get better, but at the same time, our emotion is get involved into it. So, right now, because the emotion is get involved into it, it doesn't become Karuna. It becomes just sadness, just an ordinary sadness that we thought that this is metta, or we thought that this is compassion or karuna. Because right now, it's filled up with that already. It fills up with all these things. Okay? It fills up with this. Perhaps what you should do will be a better one right now is what we call equanimity. Equanimity is part of the Brahma Vihara. But equanimity here, it is not indifference and then you sit down there, do nothing, tidak apa attitude, don't care, don't bother attitude. Not that, Equanimity is quite active, in that sense. But the mind is balanced in the center. That balance in the center, that is to say, at this situation, your mind is not going into sadness. That your mind is able to be clear and aware. That in the back of your mind, also you understand that the sickness that we have to go for all these things, this suffering, is because of part of our karma that we have done in the past, our bad karma that we have done in the past, and then we have to go through this. And when we go through in this way, the mind stays in the middle, and yet the mind is alert. When it stays in the middle, and it stays in the middle, it's neither happy or neither sad. And yet, at the same time, the mind is open and alert. And that time, you can do a lot of things for your sister. For example, when she needs things, or what to do after that, how to talk to the doctors, how to take care of her after the surgery, and after the post-op. You can keep what we call a sane, a balanced mind. Because sometimes a lot of us, when our loved ones go into this thing, our mind goes into a lot of unbalance, and then we are in a sadness, we cannot think properly, we cannot this one, and we thought that we are sending metta, but we are actually not sending metta. It's just covered up with a lot of emotions. So this time, it would be better we keep the mind stable. We keep the mind stable. And it will be good for you, and actually it will be good for her. Because when your mind is not overcome by those emotions, you can help your sister even better. You can help your sister in many ways when she cannot think for herself. At that after surgery, the mind sometimes very groggy, very not clear, very this one, and then you can able to help her to do what are the things that is necessary for her. This equanimity is one of the things that we don't really want to. We don't see that this is important. You see, the 4 Brahma Viharas, which is the Mettā, the loving kindness, the compassion, altruistic joy, the mudita, the altruistic joy, or joy to happiness for others and yourself, and also the equanimity, the upekkha. These 4 things. These 4 things actually, for me, when I look at it, you have to have a real balance of all of them. So a lot of us, we are only metta, compassion only, but the other 2, especially the third one, we don't. Especially the 4th one, we don't have. We thought that all these human emotions and all that thing, it makes us really human. But this is what people tell you. But what the Buddha tells you is that this equanimity is somehow, it makes the mind stable. In the times of when you are in difficulty, when the times of you are going through all kinds of suffering, or somebody is going through a suffering, and that time, if you cannot give a right compassion, make sure you come to the right equanimity. And that time, you can do a lot of things. So here, metta may not be a very good situation for this type of case here. And so, not only a patient, for a lot of you, maybe your mother, maybe your friends, maybe this one who going through all this difficulty, that time you make sure that your mind is stable. When the mind is stable, that is somewhat is equanimity, and it's very good. It can help your sister even more, actually. But so when you actually, if you really want to send a metta to her, it's not to say cannot, but can you detach yourself from the emotion, from the heavy emotion that they are going through? If you cannot detach, that means the metta will be corrupted. Or even the compassion itself also. Later you want to spread that may she be free from all these things, but at the beginning of your mind is so filled up with sadness and so on, then again it gets corrupted. So mindfulness actually is very important for us to able to be aware and how one state of mind and is different from another state of mind. Okay, this is quite a thing. This is quite heavy. Yeah. So anyway, we wish your sister have a good surgery. Yeah, and he can able to recover as fast as possible. All right, the next one. Bhante, since we are not to include someone of the opposite sex that we venerate to be included in our Mettā Bhāvanā, can I skip this category? Those that I know personally have already passed on. Okay, the first sentence is that the opposite sex that we venerate, some, as I said, some teachers may not allow. For me, I'm okay, as long as your mind is pure. As long as your mind is pure and it can able to develop that metta, then it's perfectly all right. So if the person is already passed on, then we have to let go, because when the person is already passed on, that means perhaps it's already dead, it's already gone. Then you cannot use a dead person to this one. So just pass on with this category. It's perfectly all right. Sometimes for me, when the venerated ones, also a lot of times I don't use it as my part of my group. Once in a while I do it, but a lot of times I don't do it, because I can able to arouse the metta quite fast, and then I can able to go on to all the beings in the whole everywhere, all the realms of existence already. So it all depends. Right. There are certain days in the week where I can practice 1 hour block, 3 times in a day. Can I practice half an hour walking or half an hour sitting on just those days? All other days will have 2 hour blocks for the practice. Okay. Yes, you can do that. If you find that a half an hour walk, half an hour sit is good, then fine. Now, sometimes it can also be like 15 minutes of walking, 45 minutes of sitting. Also okay. Sometimes you may feel that the walking is good. Sometimes after half an hour you feel that your walking is good. Then you can prolong that walking to 1 hour and you forget about the whole sitting. Also can. Don't worry about the sitting. But if you find that the walking is nothing much, then you can go into the sitting. So that is something like that. Okay. All right. That's a next question. All right. Okay. During metta meditation, the metta is aroused and is outward oozing. In last night's sitting, each metta aroused gets sucked inside into a kind of bottomless pit. At times, keeps compounding inside, like keep taking. I don't see it will ever be filled. It is weird. I stop meditation. What should I do? All right. Now, sometimes when your metta is moving and is going forward, and it's good, but once in a while, perhaps I think with what you described here, I think sometimes the concentration may develop a little bit more than the mindfulness. And when the concentration gets a bit stronger than the mindfulness, seems like a number of times in Vipassana, we also get this type of bottomless pit, It's the same kind of when your faculties are not so balanced in a certain way. It gives you like kind of a narrow, deep, and then at that time, the mindfulness or even the Vipassana practice, it doesn't seem that clear anymore. That means here the concentration may go on a little bit too much already. Slightly too much. So make sure that what you need to do is right now is that you need to like let go of the metta, and again here go back to the body again. Feel the body like you feel the whole body is sitting, Feel the whole body sitting, or you feel the rising, falling, or you feel the touch. Just to make sure that your mind is in the present again. Anything, you just like in any meditation, you kind of like you're stuck somewhere and you do not know what is going on, You kind of like for example, at this case, you kind of feel in the bottomless pit, and you do not know what is going on. And for you, your meditation may be some other thing that you do not know what to do. And when you do not know what to do, always come back to your body again. You come back to your body again, you feel your body, build up that mindfulness again. Once there's mindfulness, everything will be ironed out. Because of sometimes the mindfulness is not strong or is not there, then that's where a lot of problem. So make sure that whatever happens, you do not know what to do, come back to mindfulness. Come back to mindfulness. Kind of like a reset button, like your computer, you work, or the computer go haywire. What do? You reset the button, you restart again. And then when you restart again, then things gets better. Then you start again or whatever you need to do. So too in the meditation also the same thing. You start again. Now let's say you want to get up. I stop the meditation and you get up. Now when you get up, make sure that if you have a little bit of more time, then walk a little bit. Just make sure that to bring back the mindfulness through the walking. Forget about the metta. Forget about the metta first. Make sure that the mindfulness is there. Once the mindfulness is there, then later if you have the time again, then you start off with the metta again. So something like this. Number 2, following the above. Following the above, I have a very alert sleep and dream on doing a group meditation. It was mindful meditation. Okay. The next morning sitting was exceptionally alert. The metta was minute and constricted. The labeling evolved from may I be well to may you be well and you will be well. And it felt the ease after inside the very tiny and pointed. The metta is like consolidating. For once, it has allowed me to go near to the surface and would disappear. I would know it's somewhere there. I only know I need to continue metta there. And there's a lot of covering up and peeling to do. The wave of energy is there to protect the metta. Do I put the effort to get near to the metta, or do I resolve the energy to make way to the metta? Okay. All right. I think there's a part of it, a few lines I don't think I understand. But anyway, I think I get what you mean. All right. Now, so you have alert sleep, you have a good sleep, and so on. Well and good, Even but one of the benefit of metta is that you have a good night's sleep. A good dream also, if you happen to have dreams. At least there's a mindful dream. Anyway, this is one thing. Now, may I be well and happy to may you be well and happy to you will be well. That is a bit different already. You see, you will be well, that you're already exerting something or asserting something that you are well already, May I be well or may you be well or may others be well. It is more of a wish. Metta is a wish. Metta is a sincere wish. It's not that assertion that you are well or you will be well. It's not an assertion, Later part, there's another question. It's mentioned that later we'll talk about a little bit on that too. You said it's not a statement. Metta is not a statement. It's not asserting that you are well. For example, that day also I talked, may I be happy. Then this one person he says that, no, I don't want to wish myself happy. I am happy right now. I'm happy. It is not an asserting yourself to be happy. Mettā is a wish for yourself and for others. Just like the Karuna also is a wish. Mudita also is a wish. It's not about exerting oneself or asserting oneself in that sense that you are well or you are happy or you will be well. Not in that sense. So it's a wish that is keep on giving. It's keep on flowing and flowing and flowing. Keep on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. Heart up from the heart is keep on going and going. So now you find that the Mettā is kind of like consolidating, and then it's going near to the surface and so on. Again, here I think this is again a little bit of concentration is going on. But now the Mettā is still there, but the concentration is still a bit high, But nevertheless, if you find that whether you need to go near or whether you resolve the energy to make way of the Mettā, do something, and if the Mettā comes out, if the Mettā is keep on flowing, that means that one is right one. If the Mettā is not flowing, then something is wrong already. Simple as that. Whatever that you do, sometimes you feel that kind of like, sometimes you sit down, you may feel that your head, as if like the Mettā is going higher, is pushing up. So it's perfectly all right. Some people, the Mettā, as they radiate the Mettā, for me, the radiation, my imagination is kind of like a bubble that is going out, Some people, radiation is like going through like a tornado like that, turning, and then as it turns, it go bigger in a bigger orbit, bigger circle, and then all of a sudden. Some people want a very zigzag one, here, like simply shooting laser everywhere. Some people, the Mettā, the flow of the Mettā is like a very directional Mettā. It's like the Buddha did teach about the 512 ways of how you can do Mettā, and this is a very directional Mettā. North, south, east, west, and then northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, up, down. In that sense, all the 10 points all together, and then within that 10 points, you can have other things. So it's that one very complicated. You have to remember a lot of things. We want to summarize it. Perhaps later, another talk, we're going to show you a little bit, at least what the Buddha thought when the 512 ways of how to do the Mettā. But some people can do that. Most people cannot do that because there's a lot of thinking that is involved there. So whether you go near the energy or whether I resolve the energy to make way for the Mettā, whichever it is, for that particular sitting, make sure that you try this. If the Mettā is flowing, that means it's correct. If the Mettā is not flowing, that means it's not correct. Okay? All right, next question. Bhante, during my sitting this morning, the mind was clear. It leaped to a more tranquil state in 2 different intervals. The Mettā was going quite smoothly throughout. Later, I went to the market. I was rushing through with not much of mindfulness in the market as it was about to rain. On my way back, I felt the heart was beating very fast. When I reached home, I sat down. The heart was beating even more faster. Aching and strong unpleasant sensation felt. Just then, I remembered to send Mettā to myself. May I be free from harm and danger. Surprisingly or coincidentally, the aching and the unpleasant sensation stopped almost immediately. Heartbeat became very much slowed down. No history of heart problem. 1. The state of rushing through with no mindfulness, which is very contradicting to the state of tranquil state, the cause for this incident. There could be also because you see, in the morning when you meditate, the mind is clear. When the mind is clear, and that clearness, it follows you through a little bit when you go to the market. But once you reach the market, everything starts to this one. But you can feel that your heartbeat and your nature of your body is still clear to you, at that time. So, and the mindfulness is trying to be there. The mindfulness and the tranquil part a little bit is trying to be there. And yet at the same time, your mind, your thinking, you need to rush. So the two minds and the heart is like, the mind is thinking of something, the heart having another thing. So sure contradict. So when there's a contradiction, that of course it becomes very rushing. It becomes very, as I said, the heartbeat becomes faster and so on. Then it's something like that. Then when you send it to yourself back again, then everything cools down. Then well and good. Now, is this way of sending metta to oneself considered an ulterior motive? It all depends on how you look at it, whether it's an ulterior motive. Sometimes, let's say if it's an ulterior motive, then some people may send it to oneself. May I be free from all the harm and danger. Then, but the back of your mind, you don't want any heart problem. You don't want any problem, or you don't want any sickness and so on. Then you say, may I be free from all that harm and danger. I don't want all this problem. No, it is not. You see, metta, this is ulterior motive. When you send to metta, when you send to metta to oneself or to other people, make sure that the metta is pure. Without you may I be free from harm and danger. And the meaning is to wish the person or wish oneself to be harm and danger. Don't worry about any form of aches and any forms of unpleasant things is coming in and so on. If the pain is there, or the sickness is there, then when you send to oneself and you wish the sickness to be over, that means there's ulterior motive. There's ulterior motive. Sending to metta to oneself or to others is that you wish the person to be well and happy, but you are not expecting the person to be happy or to be free. That will be his karma already, To be whatever, whether he's free from all the harm and danger, or whether he's going to be healthy, or whether the person is going to be happy. That is not your area anymore. Your area is just wishing them. So you don't go and step onto their area. You go and step onto their karma. Your part is only wishing them to be well and happy only. Yeah, it's just like when we go back to just now the one that's going to this one. So metta is all about. The metta is all about pureness of the mind, that is wishing somebody to be well and happy, but you don't expect them to be well and happy. That is two different things. One is expectation and one is a sincere wish. Now, when you give it to yourself also, you don't expect yourself to be well. You don't expect yourself to be free from that suffering. You radiate to yourself purely sincere wish to yourself only. Not expecting I'm going to free from this sickness, I'm going to free from that, I'm going to this and that. It's not that. When you have that, that is an ulterior motive, that's expectation is involved already. Can you see the difference so far? Can say it's easy, but when you do it and say tomorrow, all the expectation will start coming in again. Because we don't want to see the suffering. We want the suffering to get rid of the suffering very fast. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. So that's why a lot of times our metta is all very corrupted. It's not true. It's not pure. Okay. Next one. Now I feel joyful I feel joyful, calm, peaceful during walking meditation, sitting walking meditation, Bhāvanā. Is this real metta or is this my imagination? How to differentiate between these two? Now, if you feel joy, calm, and peaceful, this is, as I said earlier on, this is a state of the mind. This is not necessary metta yet. But if the metta is flowing, as I said again, if the metta, like, may I be free from harm and danger and so on, and it still flow, and then you feel calm and joy or peaceful, then that one is real metta. But the joy and calm and peaceful, that is not metta. That is connected to metta, but it's not metta. So, as I said, some people, this joy, calm, and peaceful is there, but metta is not there. So make sure that your flow of your metta is there. Together with that, if there's joy, calm, and peaceful, is good. If somehow or another, next time when you meditate, if you radiate the metta and you don't feel that joy, calm, and peaceful, don't give up on it so much. Don't expect that every time metta must have joy, calm, peaceful, happiness, and so on. That you are putting your bar too high already. Then when you don't reach that, then you suffer. Then how come my metta is not that? Because you are relating your joy, calm, and peaceful as a metta. No, they are two different things. These are two different things. So as I said again, metta is metta. Joy, calm, and peaceful is other states of mind. They usually come together a lot. But nevertheless, there are sometimes metta comes in only without the joy, calm, and peaceful. So it still can work. So is it my different imagination? No, it's not. As long as you are mindful, you are alert, then you can differentiate between imagination and what is real. Okay? All right. The last question is a bit interesting. Now, this question may sound a bit critical. I feel the lines, metta, are too ideal. They seem not to match with reality. We know life is dukkha, dukkha satcha. We read it, may all beings be well and happy, free from mental suffering, even for the woeful states. This seems to be more rhetoric and too ideal. Reverend Sujiwo said that idealism is a dirty word. If we say may they suffer less, it is more realistic. I feel things only work if they are in the realm of reality and possibility. Popular contemporary monk, Thai forest monk Ajahn Suchat said that there's only metta in action, not enchanting. Please comment and clarify. Okay, there are two things here I cannot comment. Reverend Sujiva and Ajahn Suchat. Why I cannot comment? Because sometimes we do not know what are the context that they are talking about. I do not know what the context they are talking about, and also it's not good for me to even if I know, also it's not good for me to go and comment on those things. But I can comment on your first or second line. You may see a bit critical. Now the thing is that you see, you are mixing up two things about reflection, about reality of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then you are mixing up with this metta thing, and then you rojak the whole thing up, That is not the way. That is not the way. We have to separate. If you are looking into dukkha, satcha, and all these noble eightfold path and the four noble truth things, we are looking in the area of reality. That is one area to develop the mind, which is the wisdom area, the reality. We develop the mind, that one. But on the other hand, the metta is a mind that we also need to develop. It's two different states of mind. You are different. One area you develop a lot of wisdom in a certain sense, but this one you are developing metta. It's another wholesome mental state. For example, you talk about dana and sila. Dana is a state of mind also that you want to give. It's a state of mind. Sila also is a state of mind. There are two different states of mind. So when we do that, we develop those things together. So we know how to differentiate those things. But this one, when it comes into reflection and all these things, this is two different area. Now, when you say may they suffer less, it is more realistic. You are looking into a different area. You are looking into Metta, Karuna area, or even like wisdom area already. That is in a way realistic. Whereas Metta, when we wish somebody to be well and happy, we don't look into the suffering of the person or the beings. We just radiate, we just give the metta, and we wish the person to be well and happy, not to be put all the dukkha and everything in. Not in that sense. Not in that sense. Yes, all beings in the state is dukkha. We understand. We know. If not, why did the Buddha teach all the four Brahma Vihara? Why don't the Buddha teach only reality only? Because there are different states of mind to be aroused. So when there are different states of mind to be aroused, you need to put one area aside. Then you develop that particular state of mind that you want to develop. So this time when you want to develop the metta, we develop it in the sense of we wish the person to be well, or we wish the beings to be well, in that sense. So this is what we meant here. So please, for the meantime, we put it all aside. We put all these things aside. If not, when you mix up together, you do not know what you are doing, all these type of things. Actually, I think I missed out one question. It's quite a long question, but I think it's somewhere in the top. This one I missed out one thing. But anyway, it's going to be difficult to cut and paste right now. Anyway. Okay, that's it for tonight. That's it for tonight.